It's probably about 18 degrees Celsius out here, which, if I forget, is probably about 70 degrees Fahrenheit or so. We're sitting in the Masai Mara. My name is James Hendry, and it's very good to have you with us. We're going to try and follow that big male lion of the Triangle Coalition. There we go. And we'd love to hear from you during the course of this morning. Hashtag Safari Live is how you get hold of us on Twitter, or you can talk to us on the YouTube chat stream. We have got Scott across the river looking for Cheetah, I think, and Taylor McCurdy behind me. I'm not sure what she's doing. She's driving about, and no doubt she'll tell you some interesting things. Let's see if we can catch up with this big male. He was sitting over there yesterday. If you were watching us in the afternoon, you would have seen a very brief glimpse of him. We were going to go back to them during the course of the night, but then, of course, the greatest deluge since Noah's small rainstorm arrived and unfortunately scuppered all plans that we had. There he is. So part of a member of the Triangle Boys, I think. I'm not sure which one he is. Let's just see if he's got a tail tip. And you can see his mane now falling in that distinctive parting that happens when they turn around almost 10. He's in his prime. He's a big scarred male. He's in perfect condition. He's fat from the migration bounty. And he has got that slightly squiggly tail, so I'm not sure which one he is. And he's right on the territory edge of the Triangle Boys and the Musketeer Coalition. And I'm pretty sure he's from the Triangles. There's a lioness. And this is a non-off-roading zone, I'm afraid, everyone, so we can't be closer at this stage. And there's a road around the other side which might give us a slightly better view. Now, who is this? Is she from the Sausage Tree Pride? Is she from the Ololola Pride? Or is she from the Angama Pride? Regardless, she's going to give her little mate a sniff on the backside, and clearly she has eaten something during the night. There's a kill somewhere around here. You can see she's got, that's not lipstick she's wearing, everyone. That is, in fact, blood. She's very happy to see him. He looks surprisingly sort of nonchalant about the greeting she had. And Marie, you say a lion with a nice dark mane. He does have a nice dark mane, doesn't he? That's a function, of course, of his age and, of course, the amount of testosterone he has coursing through his body, which, if you happen to be a big male lion, well, it's quite a lot, really. He's a little bit discomforted. He's a little bit uncomfortable. He's obviously looking around. Something has got up his nose slightly, I think. And by that I mean he's just not settled. See him looking around, smelling. He's going to carry on. I'm going to try, I'm going to give him 10 seconds. Because he might just disappear into where they have a kill. Somewhere in there. We might pop out in that termite mound and see if he does that. It'll be very pretty indeed. He's just disappeared there. I just want to see if he pops around onto the top of that termite mound. She's now following him. Alright, I don't think he's going to. So I'll try and get another view. While I do that, let's head over to Taylor McCurdy and find out about her morning.
Hello everybody, we have got a beautiful scene of elephants and the sun rising. It's actually just poked its head through the clouds, which is very exciting. How are you all today? Not that I can hear your responses straight away, but I'm sure that you're all doing wonderful. My name is Taylor, and on camera with me today is David. I'll get David this afternoon or at some point with a new nickname. We'll try and figure out a couple here. Now remember, this is live, this is interactive, this is happening right now from the Mara Triangle in Kenya. So send us your questions, hashtag Safari Live on Twitter, or you can ask us questions on the YouTube chat too. That is also acceptable. But there they go, a lovely family of elephants starting their day off quite early, walking through the open plains. I'm sure grabbing a trunk full of grass here and there. Something I've always wondered, do elephants mind getting their feet wet? Because I don't know if I'd like to walk through that long grass today. especially after all the rain that we had yesterday. The rain didn't stop. It kept going till late into the evening, I think even till the early hours of this morning. But it'll be good. I think that it's just going to rejuvenate, of course, the land. It's going to top up any pans with water. So hopefully over the next couple of days, we'll see elephants mud bathing, buffaloes wallowing, and maybe a warthog or two sliding around in the mud. Wouldn't that be fun? Especially because there's some new little piglets around. Now, we came down this road because yesterday I was talking about the Angama pride and how I wanted to find them and start plotting them on my little map so I can figure out for myself their favorite spots. They're not here today. I think they've taken a break, a day of leave perhaps, which is actually unacceptable because we didn't get any notice. And I'm sure they're around here somewhere, maybe just further off into the open, where unfortunately we cannot drive. And I would like to see black rhino again today. I don't know about all of you, so I'm hoping to maybe swing past that area and have a quick squiz. And then if not, we'll probably move away from here. I suppose we really have to go to the jackal den today. Because we keep saying that we're going to go to, of course, the jackals, but we haven't really had an opportunity because the rain ruined it yesterday. But maybe today will be our day. Dear Watcher, you said it was lovely, elephants in the mist. I think it was a great way to start. Let's go for a little bit of a drive. Let's see what else we can find around here. So yeah, so we'll have a quick squiz. Oh, there's a marabou stalk up ahead by the looks of it, so we'll have a look at the marabou stalk. And then we'll head that way to see if the black rhino are perhaps out also in the mist. Imagine black rhinos in the mist would be quite nice, would be a first for me here. And then we totally making our way towards the jackal den. Let's see if we can have one quick look at our marabou stalk. I wonder where it would have roosted last night, considering it was raining so much. I wouldn't like to have been sitting on the top of a tree. That's typically where they all rest. Also with the gusting wind and the lightning, that wouldn't have been very pleasant at all. But there it is, a beautiful marabou stork. Well, beautiful is a strong word to describe this bird. A face that only a mother could love. Anyways, I'm going to send you across to James now to have a look at his wonderful lions wearing lipstick.
Yes, indeed, wearing lipstick. Unfortunately, we're not going to get a great view of them because they are in a difficult area. I thought we might get a view from this side, but we won't. I've seen another lioness and another male. So let's go around here and see if we don't get a slightly better view of what's going on. We'll just wave friendlily at people. They smiled at us. Very nice. Jesse. Or so, I guess, Jesse. They're up top there. I'm not going to go back towards them though because they're in a very muddy zone. But yes, there are buffalo around, and they're not hugely on the menu for the lions of this area. Alrighty, let's see if we've still got a view at all. We spotted another lioness in there, in addition to the one that we first saw. You got her slightly forward. Yeah, okay, I can see her. What a great picture that is, isn't it, Craig? Quite possibly the best picture we have had of a lion since we got to the Mara. It's that little white thing in the middle. There we are. Hello, my dear. And the rest of them are around that very attractive woodland somewhere. I failed during my introduction to reveal that Craig is on camera today. Hello, Craig. And the people who've just driven past us now are not so friendly. Oh well, you know, you can't win them all. So I don't think we're going to spend a huge amount of time here on account of the fact that, well, we can't really see what's going on. We'll drive on and see what else there is in the offing in this massive place they call the Masai Mara. We had an interesting evening after the rain. I thought that it would be a storm that sort of finished, and then, well, it carried on endlessly. Good, right, now we've got the male. He's obviously on what they've killed, and I want to see what it is, and I wonder if it isn't one of the zebra that were in here yesterday. There are no wildebeest around, so it's highly unlikely that it's a wildebeest. Can you see what we're looking at? There's a male and a female lion in there. 2 females. Yeah, just in here. If you park over here, you'll see them. I'm just telling some guests who are staring blankly into this area. If you look just straight over the top of me, you got them. Yeah. Just helping out guests from Angama, where we live. You know, solidarity and all that. So I think let's sit here for another 5 minutes, and then, Andy, you say they're mating? No, not right now. They are eating. Andy, they could be mating. I don't know though. This male was definitely with them yesterday. We saw him in the distance, and I'm not sure how many lionesses there are. I think there are 2 or 3. Well, there are at least 2. That's not the lipstick one there. You see that little pom-pom on the end of his tail is sort of pointing downward. That is diagnostic. And I haven't spent time with these lions for so long that I've kind of forgotten exactly who's who in the wilderness at the moment. And like I say, he's right on the territory boundary of the Triangle Boys and to the Musketeers. He should be one of the triangles over here, though. Doesn't that look like a peaceful place to sit for the morning? Obviously not if there are lions there, but if there weren't, it'd be very nice to sit out with a deck chair, a pair of binoculars, a good cup of coffee and a bird book, perhaps some other book, and enjoy the coming of the day. Beautiful. And again, I mean, while one doesn't want the wildebeest to disappear because it's very exciting and all that, I am looking forward to the time when we can spend a little bit more time exploring things like what that green tree is. It's a magnificent specimen. I'm afraid I don't know what kind of a tree it is. It's green. It's got brown bark. And you say, how neat the lions are surrounded by trees. Well, yes, I suppose it is quite neat. Here comes the other lioness, lipstick girl. See her there? There we are. She's really got very nice lipstick on today. I wonder if she had that professionally done or if she did it herself. What do you think, Craig? It looks very professional. Perhaps she's just been to a wedding or something. Alright, we're going to spend another 2 minutes here, and then we're going to press on. Roshan, you want to know if conservancies are part of the Mara Reserve? Yes, they are, in theory. They aren't. They're not places we can go, but they're all connected to the area, and so a little bit like Djuma isn't part of the Kruger National Park, but it is part of the greater Kruger. That's the same as the conservancies here. Conservancies are collections of either private reserves or the community land that have been included in the area as part of a sort of the greater conservation area, and the animals, of course, are free to come and go as they please. I can hear one of them calling way in the distance, another lion. And Angeline, you said looks like she's ready for her date. Well, yes, she may well be ready for her date. I think she's on her date. I think this is post-date. Carsten from Denmark is asking a very racy question. He says, would a male lion mate with 2 females from the same pride at the same time? It's very racy indeed, Carsten from Denmark. The answer is no, probably not. It's highly likely that he would monopolise mating opportunities with one female, and another coalition mate would almost certainly go and mate with the other one. Alrighty, we're going to move on from these lions. They ain't doing nothing over here, and we're going to see if we can't spot something else that is a little bit closer by. I think it's a little better here. I'm just telling our mate from Angama. Alright, let's head across to Taylor. I think she's heading across to the jackal den, and well, let's find out how far she's got.
Not very far, James. We're slipping and sliding around. You'll probably see in a minute. Some of these roads are interesting. See, the problem that's happening right now is that the tires are getting caked in all this clay, and well, then the tires don't work very well. So we need to find ourselves a puddle of water so that we could just dip our tires in. Good as new. Then we can carry on again. Oh, here we go. But luckily it's not too bad. It's a bit sloshy, but nothing that we can get stuck in touch with, because that would be awkward. Imagine I said that and then became stuck. It would be absolutely terrible. So we're making our way around to one of the main roads, to the river road, and then we should be able to pick up the pace a little bit. But no lions around here. Woo, hold on, David. I feel like I need to put one hand up. It's like riding a bull. Scotty, Scoop, are you wondering if the rain damaged any of the equipment? No, luckily enough. Luckily not. That's what I was trying to say. We were too quick off the mark yesterday. So our problem that had happened is that we'd actually put the canvas, the brown canvas, down on the sides. Not brown, it's khaki, I should know that. And then as we were trying to put this massive blue top, which we also have just as extra protection, because you can imagine nothing stays waterproof forever. When it becomes completely saturated, you do spring a leak here and there. But that's plastic, so that one doesn't leak. So we put that over the top. And then the wind started howling and we almost lost it. And that's actually and the reason why David and I ended up becoming completely saturated is because we were trying to fight the blue plastic cover. So no, nothing was damaged at all. Woo! You know, it's the most stressful part, of course, is we can get wet. That's no problem. Oh, Melly said that Maurice is hiding under the dash. He stayed dry. I actually should have maybe left him out in the rain, because he would have been in the wash. And we were talking about him yesterday, putting him in the washing machine, and how I don't want to do that to him. But anyway, Maurice is here. Maurice, we're going to find you some animals to take selfies with and all sorts of other things. So he lives here, also in my camera box. Sort of switches between the two. When it rains though, I don't want him to get too damp, so I do put him in the camera box. So I've not seen one wildebeest this morning. I've seen about 155 million zebra though. They're everywhere. Now, Chandler, you're wondering, good question actually, which areas in the Mara would you recommend for a first-time visitor? Yeah, I would say up on the escarpment. There are many different lodges around here. We're based right next to Angama Mara. It's absolutely beautiful. So let's see if we can actually show you. Yes, we can. I'm going to stop quickly. Chandler, have a look at the views. It is incredible. So right on the top of that peak, that's where Angama Mara is based. Isn't that amazing? Those look like the rooms. I think some of them are the rooms. Imagine that view, waking up every single morning. And well, if we didn't have clouds last night, you would have also seen the moon rising. It would have been spectacular. So I would say, yeah, there's plenty game. I think it also depends on what time of the year you arrive and you come and visit. Obviously, this is the most sought after season to come and view the animals around. You can imagine, because of migrations happening. I still think it would be spectacular. Ooh, zebras, are you having a proper argument? Or are you just playing? Looks like two stallions. Let's watch them. Let's see what they get up to. I've yet to put a real fight on camera. Yeah, it looks like stallions just from their stockiness. watch them. They can rear up quite high and chop with those front legs, so you want to be careful. Look how beautiful they are. They all look like they've been washed clean. There we go. And this is the part where stallions can be quite savage, and they'll often drop to their knees, and you'll see them constantly trying to go in between their hind legs. I'll give you one guess what they're going for. I've never seen it happen before, but I've heard some horrific stories of stallions fighting and trying to kill one another. You can also hear them. Oh, wow. See how they keep sitting down to protect their nether regions? This is quite exciting. Now, obviously these two boys are challenging one another for this area, for the females. Looks like it's getting more and more heated. They're actually very quick on their feet. Look at them go. Listen to that sound. That's such a clever technique, just to sit right back down. And you're not... Oh! Double barrel to the chin. They're so tough, though, so even something like that wouldn't really hurt a zebra, but they can kick and cause huge lacerations. Let's see, maybe it's just a bit of sparring. Doesn't seem to be getting too serious just yet. Yeah, perhaps they're just sparring. Stanley, you say they're play fighting, and definitely, I think that's what's happening here. That was so cool. That was really great to see. Actually, this might look like there's a lot more stallions around. There's a couple of mares in between. But remember, zebras do form bachelor herds too, where you'll just get a group of stallions, and then you can imagine the testosterone would be high. And I think, like we see elephants pushing and shoving one another, we see lots of different animals, and sparring and pila. I definitely think it helps get rid of those high testosterone levels and just sort of bring everybody back down to size again. There's lots of Thompson's gazelle, well, not lots of Thompson's gazelle, there's just a couple of them scattered in between. I wonder if that little one we saw yesterday made it through the night. It actually got very, very cold, so we know that in South Africa, the young animals are susceptible to cold shock. And I'm sure it would be similar up here. It was the coldest I've ever been, obviously drenched to the bone, and that wind was gusting. The temperature, I didn't even know what the temperature was last night, but it was cold. It most certainly was not pleasant. Now, I hope you all got some good screenshots of those zebras sparring. So remember to hashtag Safari Live so that we can all see them and have a look at them. That was a very nice sighting. I can't remember when I last had two stallions playing about like that, but we won't digress too much from our original sort of plan of heading towards the jackal thing. We've been promising for 2 drives now. If I don't deliver today, I'm going to be disappointed in myself. And I think David's probably going to bop me over the top of the head too. He likes those jackal. And even the ladies in Final Control. They say it is the sweetest thing they've ever seen. So we'll keep bumbling about. Still got a little while to go, but we'll get there eventually. Scott has woken up. Good morning, Scott. I don't know if he's with the cheetah or if he's planning on finding them again, but he has got an animal that towers above the rest.
Well, morning everyone, and what a beautiful scene this is to start off at least our contribution to this sunrise safari. A beautiful giraffe surrounded by wildebeest and a big green sea of short grass. And obviously this area has got quite a lot of rain since I was last here, because this is the greenest I have seen it. Beautiful. My name's Scott Dyson and I am teamed up with Manu on camera. We are indeed going to be searching for cheetah today. Any cheetah, but in specifically we hope to find a coalition of 5 males. They were apparently to the south of where we are yesterday, so there's a chance that we could find them in this general area. From time to time they do actually leave the Mara Reserve and exit into the surrounding community conservancies. And interestingly, apparently in the 2 months that we've been here, or at least that I've been here, spending time with them, they have spent more time in the actual reserve in these last 2 months than they have since they arrived here in December last year. Wonderful. Well, it's great to have said hello to all of you. We are going to be sending you back to James, who has got a very, very interesting bird.
There we have some ground hornbills, everybody, turkeys walking through the grass. And the one on the very far left is a juvenile, and it's been begging from the others. No, it's not the far left, it's the one from the left. It's got no red on its face, and it's been doing very little actual catching of anything. We watched it begging a grasshopper from the one on its left, and the very kind adult gave the grasshopper to the youngster. And once this car's gone past us, I'm going to just move a little bit forward, and then what we can do is listen, because they're calling as they walk. Of course we will not hear it over the sound of the roar of this deeply aged diesel engine. Right, let's be quiet now and just listen. How cool is that sound? So that's the male doing the first bit, and the female doing the next bit. All the time, I'm not sure that I've seen this before, where they've walked along calling like this. I've often heard them, of course, doing it from trees, but I'm not sure that I've heard them calling like this on the ground. The precursor to mating, it's largely a territorial call, though, I think. I mean, while it's a very pleasant sound as well, it does become slightly monotonous, doesn't it? He's sounding a bit tired now. See that little picking up little grasshoppers, tossing them down? I think it's only two of them calling. I don't think there are three calling. The youngster certainly won't be calling. He made a sort of baby-like screech when he wanted the grasshopper that one of the adults had caught. See if he does it again. Now, I didn't do it. You want to know what the hornbills will eat, basically. You say, well, they just eat insects, or will they also eat spiders? You know, they'll eat anything, basically. They eat tortoises and snakes, quite a few reptiles. They'll eat, I mean, if they could get hold of a bushveld gerbil or something like that, they'd almost certainly eat that. So, they have a very Catholic but meaty-based diet. They don't eat a huge amount in the way of vegetable matter. I'm just quickly going to try and find 1 second here. This is the southern ground hornbill, by the way. Yeah, and I'm just looking, it is the female that's got the little blue patch underneath her beak. And the male has got, his wattles are all purely red. I'm kind of wondering if they're endangered here in the Mara as well. I'm just looking. I mean, they're endangered everywhere. The species is endangered. Are they safe in the Mara here? Absolutely. I mean, in the same way that they're safe in the Sabi sand, they're not necessarily threatened there, but because the habitat that they can live in is so reduced as a species, they are highly threatened. And so in protected areas like the Sabi sand or the Mara, you'll find that they are fine, you know, they get on with it, they live a very safe and peaceful life as far as the Grand Hornbill Society can be, peaceful and safe. But it's because protected areas and areas of wilderness are becoming that much smaller that there is a problem for things like Grand Hornbills. Now there you can see the female calling. There you can see her calling. The male is the one on the far left. Now watch him. Watch the one on the there. You can see him calling now. And now the female will call throat patch. That's very cool. Never seen that. Roshni, you says it's a territorial call. I think almost certainly yes. I've never seen them calling like this. She's now had enough of this conversation. She's decided to let him have the last word as she gets on with the housekeeping. Seems to be quite a lot of cleaning, not of the youngster but of the other adult going on. And the youngster's being very fastidious about cleaning the mud off his feathers. That's good. Dad's coming to have a look. Make sure that the cleaning is going correctly. Making a few adjustments to the feathers. Doesn't want his son or daughter plummeting from the sky at an inopportune moment while they're flying over the Mara. There we go. Perhaps taking off the odd gnat or louse. They're all doing a bit of cleaning of themselves. That's wonderful. Gillian, you're going to show this clip, you said, your daughter who is a musician. That one there, in fact, they're two youngsters. Not quite youngsters. The one on the far, or on the right-hand side, younger. You can see much less extensive red, but not nearly as young as this other one here. Now remember, they take 9 years to get to mating age. And that one there, I would put it, I think, is probably about 2 years old. The immature one. Now, Lauren, you're in Illinois and you want to know how long it will be that the ground hornbills will stay with their parents. Often they will stay in their natal flock for life. I think the females stay in the natal flock for life. Let me just check that up while I'm sitting here. And the males, I think, disperse to form other flocks, if I'm not mistaken, but certainly for at least, I think, until breeding age, they're in the same flock. So they don't have a huge amount of sort of friendly interaction with others until they're much older. Let me just check here. Breeding monogamous, breeds cooperatively, yes, we knew that. Tree cavity, blah, blah. 1 to 2 eggs, yes. Wait. I'm going to need the more extensive text. General habits, foraging and food, breeding. A dominant breeding pair, often together in successive years, with 0 to 9 helpers. Yes, we know all of this. Chicks left mostly alone in the nest. Fledges after a nesting period of 86 days. Now I've created a traffic jam. I'm going to have to move. I tell you what, people are not particularly patient about looking at birds in this part of the world. I'm just checking this up for you. I will get it eventually, I promise. No, nothing yet. I may have to take a little more time to figure this out. It doesn't say when they leave. Oh, here we go. Lost from fledging. No, that's just the voice. Now, everybody, I'm going to have to do a little bit more research, but I think what happens is that the males leave at maturity. So that's what's happening there. Alrighty, I think we should leave these ground hornbills and see what else we can find along this road. Taylor just drive past us. Oh, she found, that's very clever, she found a nice route. Did she actually drive past us or on the other route? Because I just didn't notice her going. I think she's on the other route and she's heading towards the jackal, and so let's head across to her and find out how that's going.
We did just drive past you. We snuck past you and you were so busy chatting away, James, I didn't want to bother you. So we're driving about. We're a little bit of a way off still from the I keep wanting to say the hyena den. I'm so used to the Sabi sand where we see the hyenas all the time. The jackal den. I'm very excited to actually get there. There was a question from James, and I shall answer it while I drive and try and keep both eyes on the road. Also don't want to slide off the road. And the question was, what am I most excited to see once the migration moves on? Well, most of you know that I love the lions. They're my favorite of the cats, but I prefer the smaller things. So for me, I'm excited to focus on birds, and here's a bird that I haven't put on screen yet. I've only seen one. It's a white-browed cuckoo. Don't fly. It is so beautiful. And we get, of course, the Burchell's cuckoo down in South Africa. Isn't that cool? That's so amazing. And they've got the similar call. Because I actually said to David the other day, I was like, I wonder what sound they make. And I heard them. It's the same. And I wonder if the rainbird theory rings true up here. I always say that it works down in the Eastern Cape of South Africa. I've told you all many a times, every time before the rain and just after the rain, you'll see a lot of these birds and hear them calling about. So that's quite nice. So James, yeah, I'm excited to actually focus on the birds. I'm really looking forward to watching Serval and seeing maybe aardvark and aardwolf and spending time with the hyenas and all these different things. For me, that would be absolutely splendid. And yeah, I think that's what I'm excited about most, is really just taking a deep breath in, relaxing, bumbling, having a look at all these wonderful things. But I have yet to see a river crossing. I still want to see the river crossing. I've seen it from the studio on the river cams, but I want to be right there when the action is happening. That for me is still on top of my list, seeing as though I can tick the black rhino off now. So that's quite cool. I'm trying to think what else I'd like to see. A bit of everything, really. You know what I mean? I like it all. Spending time and learning about maybe the vegetation and the plants that occur around here. Ooh. Just Jules, you've said that you're quite excited to get to this jackal den because you have never seen a jackal den before. Well, I really hope that they're going to be out and about. I'm sure they will, though. It is a freezing cold night, rain. I'm sure a bit of water would have seeped down into the den through the tunnels. So hopefully those little ones will be out and trying to sun themselves. Maybe the adults will be nearby too. We're just passing loads of vehicles. We're on the river road, and it's a very, very popular road, as you can imagine. It's beautiful along here. Obviously the game density will be high. We know that the elephants and a lot of the animals move up to the escarpment and then come down and move towards the river systems. I'm just checking around here. Go this way around. Also check behind me just to make sure that I'm not blocking anyone. We'll just sneak past here very quickly and then we'll carry on. Whee! We're not too far away now. Actually, maybe we'll have to get the GPS out. Let's do that while my phone was charging because my battery had died last night. So we'll pop the location in. I know exactly where to go, but I just want to make sure that I'm going in the right spot. Let's go across to Scott, who has got some animals on the horizon.
Well, we do have some animals. We quickly switched from the ones on the horizon to this ostrich. She's a lady, and I think she is trying to seduce a male by doing this very interesting running dance move. The male is following from behind. Let's have a quick look at the male, considering she's... What an awesome scene. He is hot on her heels, and they are the most interesting animals. Let's have a look at the female again. She's definitely continuing to lead him with her funky dance moves. And this is the first time I've ever seen an ostrich doing this. I've seen similar kind of behavior, but not quite to the degree that we're getting to see this male follow the female. Magical scenes. And I'm told a lot of you are wowed by this fascinating scene. Absolutely awesome. Oh, now he's doing it. Look at his move now. That is incredible. That is the ultimate fancy dress maneuver. Well, the surprises you get out on safari are absolutely awesome, and that, I think it's fair to say, was quite an interesting scene to behold. The scene that we're going to show you are these wildebeest over to our left. They were the animals on the horizon before those ostriches caught our attention. And it certainly is going to be interesting for all of us once these migration wildebeest leave. These guys might be residents, they may stay, some stay behind, but 1 million or so will be leaving. And I'm told Taylor's looking forward to looking at all the smaller things that have been a little bit upstaged by the spectacle of the migration, and so am I. I'm looking forward to just being able to explore more places a bit more freely, and certainly get to know the birds and the trees, because my homework in that department has certainly been lacking, I will be honest. There are quite a few trees and birds I drive past that I just scratch my head at, but once our super long shifts and focus of trying to keep you guys in the migration action as much as we possibly can finishes, we will be able to kind of slightly change the safari style that we've adopted since we've been here. So the plan is to kind of just drive around this general area in the hope that we get some intel on cheetah, hopefully the 5 males that we're seeing not far to the south of us here. Tally-ho, you have just come up with the most wonderful description for those wildebeest on the horizon, and you say they look like pirate ships, and I think that is an incredibly good way to describe it. I think I'm going to adopt that. Thank you. And that is the joy of these live interactive safaris. We get to share in thoughts, ideas, and please do send through your thoughts, questions, comments. Now, I've noticed quite a fresh carcass here, so I just want to go a little bit closer to investigate. It's been partially eaten, that's all I can tell for now. This may be a bit gruesome, I will warn you in advance. So it seems like the tasty parts have been consumed, the eyeballs have been removed, that's quite a delicacy amongst the carnivores, and one hind quarter. The left though is fully intact. Now I wonder what it was that possibly killed this wildebeest, or if it died of natural causes. Hard to be certain. There's just so much food around at the moment. You do find these bizarre scenes where a perfectly fresh and tasty carcass is abandoned because the predators are often well fed by the time they make their next kill. I can see a few vehicles off to our right here. Let's just have a quick scan to see what... Oh, we've hit the jackpot! Yes! Oh, next to that white car. Just zoom in, left. Ta-da! Look at this. The 5 male cheetah we were hoping to find, and this is interesting because the area that they were in yesterday is an area called Hammerkop, which is a kind of bird. It's a kind of marshy area. And the last time I was with them there, we followed them at night. And they came into this general area, scent marked on that tree behind them to the left. Some of them actually climbed that tree during one of the TV shows. So I thought our plan for this morning would be to take the same path that they kind of used to leave that area the last time they were there. Oh, they're hunting. Should we move or should we stay? Let's move a little closer. There's a hill in our way. Whoa, hold on everyone. Uh-oh, they're running. Might be some bumps here. Hold on everyone. Yes, there's one lone canoe that they're going to bear down. I just need to get into a good spot. Give me a second. We've still got some time to get into a good spot, but they are bearing down on it. I cannot believe how lucky our timing is. Okay, I'm going to have to stop. Manu, get ready here. To the right, to the right, to the right. Zoom out. It's in front of this green car now. Straight in front of the green car. Stay there. There we go. Can you believe this? Our timing has been absolutely ridiculous, and this cheetah has just... No, not yet. Not yet. This wildebeest is still going. Will the chase continue? It is going to continue. We're not going to move. There's still more cheetah chasing it, and they're not going to give up. We do need to move closer. Sorry, everyone. They are not going to leave this wildebeest until they get it. There's enough of them to relay through it. I'm going to stop here quickly, Manu, you on it? I cannot believe how long this chase has been. But this wildebeest, I think, is done. It's simply too tired. 1 wildebeest against 5 cheetah was just not a fair match. I am absolutely trembling with excitement and shock. Welcome everyone who has just joined us on other networks. We have just stumbled across these cheetah about 2 minutes ago, and they started chasing down this wildebeest that you can see is in a spot of bother. There are 4 more cheetah arriving onto the scene shortly. They are a coalition of 5 males, and what an incredibly lucky start to the morning. Whew, let's get a bit closer. We've had to stop in order to make sure we get the takedown. Hello to AB. I'm told that cheetahs are the only predator that you cheer for during their hunts, and that must have been a very good opportunity for you to scream and shout for them, because that was one of the most incredible chases and takedowns that I've ever seen these 5 males make. Absolutely fascinating. They chased that wildebeest for about almost, I'd say, 3/4 of a mile. It was an incredibly long chase. Now, Andy, you'd like to know where the others are. They're all coming in. Like I said, it was a long chase, and some of them obviously had faith in the front runners to dispatch this wildebeest. There you can see another one coming in. What an absolutely beautiful day it is, and to be spoilt with this kind of an action is something that we should all be very, very grateful for. That was absolutely epic. Phew. We certainly had to drop the clutch to get into position and jam on brakes in order for Manu to do his business. And these cheetah are absolute killing machines. They have successfully taken down numerous wildebeest live on our safaris, and I think for me this has been the most exciting moment. Now what's interesting, just before we stumbled upon these cheetah, we came across a carcass of a wildebeest. Only one leg had been eaten. This is D'Artagnan. He's got a collar on. And why I was talking about that other carcass is the reason we're looking at this guy here. He's not even feeding. He's not even concerned about snacking just yet. There's so much food around for the predators that a whole carcass behind us was abandoned, and these predators are certainly acting quite differently to how they ordinarily would. As soon as a kill is usually made, the predators will often fight amongst one another and all be trying to snack as quick as possible. But here you can see it's not quite the case. Philippa, you'd like to know if this was an adult wildebeest? No, it seemed to me like it was a youngster that would have been born in the southern Serengeti plains earlier this year in about January or February. So they're about 8 months old now. Getting quite big, but not big enough to put up a challenge for these cheetah. They can even manage to bring down bigger wildebeest than this. We have seen them take down 2-3-year-old wildebeest. And it's their unique scenario of being in a coalition this large that allows them to take down bigger prey. Whew. I'm just going to spin the vehicle around quickly. Have a look at D'Artagnan just to show his body language there, Manu. You can see he's looking very intently at something. So just want to swing the vehicle around and see if there's not any hyena coming onto the scene. What is it that he's seen over here? Let's have a look across there, Manu. There's a Thompson's gazelle. No threats that I can see immediately. Not sure if you guys can see anything that I'm missing, but it seems all clear for now. For all we know, you could be looking at another cheetah, lion. There are so many options. Hello Roshni, you'd like to know if I have ever seen a cheetah bring down a zebra or any other large kind of prey species like that, and no, I personally haven't. The wildebeest is the largest prey species I've seen the cheetah take down, but Brent did see them take down a zebra. It was stolen shortly after they took it down by hyena, but certainly they can take down zebra. Usually I would say, I think it's fair to say that zebra and wildebeest are the biggest prey that these guys will try and take down. Anything larger than that is going to be a bit tricky. Okay, well, to everyone who joined on Facebook, thank you very much. Sorry we missed the takedown. It was all so quick and chaotic that it all happened, but make sure you stay tuned in for other action that may pop up a little bit later on today. Goodbye. So, now that everyone has left us, who joined briefly on Facebook, we are back to normal as we were when this hunt began. And wasn't that absolutely ridiculous? That was so exciting. I was literally shaking with excitement. Manu, by the way, has in his career so far with us, the first time he saw cheetah in the wild was yesterday, and on that same day he filmed them killing a scrub bear. So the same day he ever saw cheetah, he saw them make a kill. Now it's the second day he's seen cheetah, except there's 5 of them and he filmed them making a kill. So he's got off to a very good start with his cheetah filming career. How cool is that? And we're gonna stay with these boys and possibly try and get you into a slightly better position to see them enjoying their breakfast that they chased down for about 3/4 of a mile. And while we think about where to put the vehicle, we're going to send you over to James.
Well, that was exciting, wasn't it? We haven't had nearly the excitement you've had. We've just been driving through this grassland, seeing if we can't find the head of a lion sticking out. And I'd be interested to know from you how many wildebeest there were around that area, because if there are lots, it's very encouraging for the next few days or so. Marvellous stuff. Scott has done some amazing work with those cheetahs and really learnt their behaviour very nicely indeed. And if they didn't spend quite so much time north of our traversing area, I think we'd see what they've just done now even more often than we have. I mean, they've probably had, what, I'm going to say 10 kills live from those guys. Really spectacular stuff. All right, we've got an eland coming up now. Fast becoming a favourite of mine. This one is actually in full charge. Watch out, Craig. Here it comes, loping across the grasslands. Hello, are you lost? I wonder if it's lost, Craig. It certainly looks a little panicked by life. Looking wistfully towards the Olololo escarpment. Now looking wistfully towards Craig. Let's just see what it does. They look so ungainly. They look like they look like cattle almost, and they look like they've got no business being out here, being so ungainly. And by no business, I mean they look like they'd be easy to kill. But I think you'll find very, very few of them are taken out by predators here. They're enormous. And there's just a lot, or there are many things much easier to have a go at. Gillian, you say, he's all alone. Well, yes, he is all alone, but not for long. We've seen a few of them around us here. And they, of course, are part of the migration. About 20,000 of them apparently move with the migration herds. Very nice comment from I Didn't Do It, who says he must be a male because he doesn't want to ask for directions. I think that's probably quite true, if not slightly sexist. I did see a big group behind us just before you came across to us, but they're so far in the distance, we're not going to try and find them. Now, talking of the herds, of course, we haven't seen a huge number in this area of late, and we've watched a lot heading south. We've now had rain on this side of the river, both in the south of the Mara Triangle and yesterday evening, obviously a giant storm up here in the north. And I'm going to be fascinated to see if that draws the herds back up into this part of the world. I don't think it's going to happen today, I don't think it's going to happen tomorrow, but it might start to happen sort of in the next week or so. All right, Scott has managed to reposition. We're going to continue on our drive. Let's go back to the Five Musketeers and find out how their breakfast is progressing.
Well, things are heating up here at the breakfast table. The two individuals on the right of your screen have just been having a little boxing match, and seems like they still quite haven't worked out who is the boss yet of this coalition. And it must be said that not a huge amount is known about them at the moment. They only came into the area in December last year, which is quite recently, and the collar was only put on this male to help keep track of their coordinates daily in February or March excuse me, this year. So there's still a lot being learnt about them, and I'm told even this individual that was collared has grown quite tremendously in the last 9 or 10 months. So they are possibly still growing, therefore, some of them at least, therefore they're still trying to work out who in fact is the biggest and strongest. Now, what may happen with this coalition, and I hope it doesn't, is that they may decide to split up into possibly 2 groups, one of 2 and one of 3. I mean, it could go either way, but there's no guarantee that just because the 5 of them are together now, that they will stay together. Some of them may decide that it may be more beneficial to be in a smaller team elsewhere. But for now, we have just been so spoilt by having the chance to spend time with these guys. Oh, here they go again. Now, initially, when we first came onto the scene, we thought the male with the collar was the most dominant, but I mean, now it appears that he's standing off and letting the rest of them snack. Gabriel, you have mentioned that there are no hyena yet. No, for now, the cheetah are lucky. Even if just one hyena comes onto the scene, these guys will forego the risk of a confrontation with it and let it take over the carcass. So he's just waiting patiently, and it'll be so interesting to know more about the social dynamics. Okay, we need to get you across to Taylor. She's found a very special little bird.
We have, and it's one of my favorite birds that we even get to see in the Sabi sand. We have got some Coqui franklins. That is a female Coqui franklin, though, but there are a couple of males, but unfortunately they have disappeared. You might be able to see the one on the right-hand side of that termite mound. He's just about to disappear in the long grass. There we go. Bright orange head, striking black and white plumage. They really are pretty birds, and they were singing a song too. I wonder if there wasn't a bit of a dispute going on. One Coqui franklin was calling in the distance, and that male raced over to a high perch, such as that termite mound, which we see them doing regularly. It's funny how the franklins and the spurfowls try and position themselves as high up on a termite mound or even a log as possible, and will call from there. But that was really nice to see. So add that one to your birds of Mara. If you have started a Mara bird list by now, maybe I will do exactly the same. Let me do that. Let me open my book right now, and I will promise you I will start a Mara list. But while I do that, I'm going to send you back across to Scott and the cheetah that are feeding.
Well done to Taylor for finding that fairly secretive little franklin, and aren't they just very beautiful with their bright orange heads? Okay, so it seems like nothing's changed since you left. Dartonian is still lying off to the side while the other 4 feast. And what's interesting that we've noticed with him is he's often the last to feed on kills. I mean, maybe we were skipping a beat there and not taking enough notes of him not feeding in the early parts of the meal. And often, well, on 2 different occasions, these other 4 have left him while he continues to feed on a carcass, and he catches up with them a little bit later on in the evening. So he definitely seems at this stage to be kind of the outsider, I think it's fair to say. On a number of occasions, he's gone off and done his own thing, only for short periods of time. Once it was a whole evening. They lost him at about 8 o'clock at night, and they only reunited at 5 o'clock in the morning. But now it seems like they're all happy to feast together. Oh, look at that bloody face. Hello, ML. You'd like to know how they kind of coordinate the shifts between checking on any possible threats arriving onto the kill. And I'm not sure. It's something I've often always thought about at kills and also when they're sleeping. How do they know whose turn it is to be on watch? I think all of them just back the fact that they've all got good senses, and that one of them, or generally all of them, if anything serious happens, will wake up or tune into it. But let's watch now and see what happens. I mean, one definitely as I started answering your question, definitely put its head up and looked around. Let's see which is the next one to do it. If it's the same one, if another one takes a turn to do it. Because it is a good question you ask. I've asked myself that question many times. Whew. I'm looking forward to re-watching that hunt because it was chaos. We were flying at high speed, trying to get into position, jamming on brakes to allow Manu to zoom you in with the camera. Whew. When I saw them change their body language after we had initially seen them for that first minute or so before we had to drop the clutch, it was the most exciting feeling and almost a little bit concerning to see them start stalking, because there was a little bit of a ridge that was between us, so we couldn't see exactly what it was they were after. And thankfully, I mean, we were very fortunate that this chase took so long for them to execute, because it allowed us time to try and race you into position. Hello Lauren, you'd like to know how tricky it's going to become for the cheetah to hunt once the migration moves south to Tanzania. And to be honest, I think the 5 of them are not going to have huge trouble acquiring their meals, because they are so fast and there are so many of them, and they've specialized in hunting wildebeest, which will be here throughout the year. I don't think they're going to have any huge issues. They're just not going to have as many restaurants open, essentially, but there's still certainly going to be enough food around for them to be successful. Time will tell though. I mean, I've got no idea how sparse these plains will become when the migratory herds are not here. But I am not concerned at all for their well-being. From the hunting that I've seen them perform and execute, they are very, very effective. Jan Eric, you say they're standing bold and looking proud with the work they've done to catch and kill this wildebeest this morning, and yes, I think there must be a sense of achievement. I wonder what the others are thinking, or if they vocalize when they see the front runner actually topple the wildebeest over, if there's a little shout for joy, or what their thoughts are when they see their teammates succeed. Whew. Hi Ali, you'd like to know if this cheetah's ever tried to take off its collar, and I guess when it woke up initially after being anesthetized with the collar on, it possibly may have, as you would if you had something foreign on your body. It just takes a bit of getting used to. I guess it's like starting to wear a watch or a bracelet. It just takes a little bit of getting used to. But no, I don't think it's got any major negative effects. And if cheetah really didn't like having collars on them, researchers would not put them on. So I think that's fair to say. But yes, initially it may have been a little bit confused as to what was going on. So that collar sends off a ping every morning at 6 o'clock, giving their location, which the researchers use to kind of map their territory and their movements. And what's been very interesting, like I said a little bit earlier, oh, Taylor's got a new bird, off you go.
We do, and you can see it just flying. We're going to lose it though. It's a black-chested snake eagle. I have not seen one in a very long time. Last time I spotted one was in Zambia, and I thought it might be a new bird for some of you. Woohoo! I'll even show you. I managed to quickly snap a picture as it flew past us. Let me see if I can get one. It's not the greatest shot though, because I'm shooting straight into the white light, but just to show you properly. Let's see. You can see it's a little bit difficult, but black chest is there. You can see the white under the breast, and it's quite a short, sort of stocky bird compared to the larger brown snake eagle. Very nice. We add that to the list. Put it in here. I'm doing just the birds that I've seen today. Let's go. Black, no, chested, snake eagle. We'll do SE. We won't write the whole word out. Cool. So we've got 3. You've got Cokie Franklin, white-browed kukul, black-chested snake eagle. And as most of you know, as the name suggests, snake eagles are specialists at catching snakes. When are we going to see a snake eagle eating a snake while we're here in the Mara? Let's put that on the list. Let's go back across to Scott, though, and see how full those cheetahs' bellies are looking.
I'm also with Taylor. I would love to see a snake eagle. Well, I've seen one eating a snake before, but I haven't seen it catching one. But one bird to add to the list to see hunting, catching, and eating snakes is, of course, the secretary bird, because they are renowned for being quite effective snake killers as and when the opportunity presents itself. Shame that one cheetah's got an unfortunate accessory in a piece of coagulated blood dangling off its chin, the one with its head away to us. Can you zoom into that one there? Let's just see how that looks when it turns, the one on the left, when it turns its head, you'll see. But what I always am fascinated by is how they can be so messy and bloody. I mean, the one of them's whole face is covered in blood, but they do manage to clean themselves up very, very well with just their own tongues. I guess these guys also do groom one another a little bit. But very, very interesting how they manage to keep so clean. And I'm told you guys were lucky enough to see a lioness that had some red lipstick on this morning with James. So, again, just testament to how lucky these predators are at the moment. There are very few predators that you come across that are not well fed. And the amount of carcasses that you pass that are only half eaten is absolutely astounding. Now, I'm already thinking ahead as to when they may be making their next kill, so we can try and make sure that we're with them for that. So trying to think how Manu and I should best plan our time out in the field over the next 24 to 48 hours. What I found is that they usually make a kill every 24 to 36 hours if they're fed on a small wildebeest like this. Of course, it can change. The first morning we ever saw them hunting, they killed 2 young wildebeest within 4 hours. The first one they had to work quite hard for and single it out of a herd. The second one was similar to this. It was a lone youngster, which becomes a very, very easy target. And again, there's just so much confusion and chaos during these migration months, or during the whole migration, I guess, that many members of herds will lose their mothers or separate from the herds and be running around lost and alone and confused, which is a terrible, terrible thing to see. I often feel so dearly for those animals that are running around in hope that they find their herd members or their family, because it must be absolutely horrifying running through a place like this without your family and friends or safety in numbers. Good morning. Marissa, you'd like to know if D'Artagnan is losing face within the coalition, and we're just not sure enough on what these animals have been up to regarding their hierarchy. When we first arrived, we assumed from the little bit of behavior and interactions that we saw that he was possibly the leader of this coalition. But that has changed in the last 2 months. He definitely doesn't seem to be necessarily the lead hunter, which was something that made us think that he was also kind of the leader of the pack. All of these males evidently have managed to make kills. It's not just him. This morning was testament to that. He wasn't hugely involved in the takedown. I think he was the last on the scene. And even the researchers are not too sure exactly who is dominant and what is going on with them. They only arrived in December last year. And to be honest, we've been very fortunate in that the short time that we have been here, we've spent a lot of quality time with them. So the interactions and behavior that we've been able to see, a lot of which after dark, has provided a lot of interesting insight to the researchers. Often when we're catching up with them and letting them know what we've seen, they're often quite interested by the reports we are giving them. So, you know, once we've had a bit more time here, we'll be able to probably more accurately try and guess as to what is going on. But for now, it is a bit of a lottery regarding who is who in the hierarchy of this coalition. Oh, we're in luck. Look to the left, Manu, at 11 o'clock. There's going to be some action. I think these hyena might be running straight past the cheetah. Surely not. Surely not. They may not have seen them. The wind is blowing very gently towards us, so I don't think they're going to necessarily smell that carcass. But oh no, now I think that hyena has honed in, and they are going to come and finish off these cheetahs' breakfast. I'd be highly surprised if they don't. I've got this very strange feeling that for some reason they might not. I don't know why, but they should. They should not pass up this opportunity to chase off the cheetah. And it looks like they are both now assessing things, and here we go. Here we go. Now, often what hyena do is they kind of approach in a almost circular motion rather than coming charging in that way they can work out if there's any other threats to be cautious of. They kind of angle their way into moments like this. Yet still, I'm just wondering what they are going to do. They are being super extra cautious. As you can see, I mean, there's not many places to hide in these open grasslands. But maybe because there's so many cheetah, they could think from a distance that they are lion. That's why they may be keeping their distance. They'll have a lot more respect for lions than they will cheetah. Okay, here goes. And it's 2 against 5, says Rick. And even if it was 1 against 5, I still think these hyena would come off successful. Once they get a little bit closer, start on. Yeah, not well done, Manu. Because these cheetah now are going to start hissing and snarling. They may try and chase the hyena initially. Awesome. Look at this. Who's that? Is that D'Artagnan sticking up to the hyena with the collar? No, that's the one with the coagulated blood necklace. Well, I am fascinated by this. Absolutely fascinated. Because with these same 5 cheetah in the past, we've seen one single hyena chase off all 5 of them. Yet now 2 hyena don't seem to be able to. So it's just impossible to know what these creatures are going to do. And I'm sure a lot of you are wondering why these cheetah are looking so unfazed by these hyena, and I guess it's fairly commonplace for them to interact like this. But I'm very, very surprised by the outcome of the situation. That hyena's drooling in anticipation. Hello, Dalite. You'd like to know if cheetahs will always gorge themselves because they possibly lose their prey to other animals. And I think it's fair to say that all predators will gorge themselves as much as they possibly can when food is available. And I think cheetah possibly slightly less so to a degree. I've never seen a cheetah as bloated as a lion or a leopard can be. But they certainly will feed on as much as they physically feel possible. while they wait for possible threats to come in and chase them off and steal their food. Well, a bizarre turn of events there with regards to what I thought was going to happen. We'll be sure to keep you updated if these hyena decide to come sneaking back in and try and chase the cheetah off. I'm guessing what may happen is that these hyena may just lie down and they know there'll be parts of this carcass that the cheetah cannot process that they will be able to. So they may just lie down and wait patiently for the cheetah to move off, which probably won't take long. Usually these cheetah finish their feeding on a young wildebeest like this within an hour or so. So it won't be a long wait. We're going to send you across to James though, and I'm told he's with a herd of elephants.
I am with a herd of elephants. There they are, wandering across the grassland and eating a plant that Judy H. very kindly told me about yesterday. I thought it was a Capparis, and she agreed with me. She thought it was a Capparis separia, as opposed to a Capparis tomentosa, which is found in the Sabi sands. So that's the story there. That is a caper bush of sorts, very thorny for us, not so much if you happen to have a skin 3 inches thick. Now this rather, dare I say it, less than attractive cow is heading towards us, looking a little bit annoyed, and she's very old. And I say unattractive because she's got sort of bumpy bits all over her. I'm not going to say it loudly again. I must just tell you, before you came to us, Craig imitated me. He said, "Hello everybody," which has of course become my default greeting every time I do a link, or every time I'm linked over to. And so I thought that was very funny, and I stopped myself. I'm also going to punch Craig in the throat as soon as we go off air. Now, interestingly, this elephant cow has got a piece of her tusk missing. And I've seen lots of elephants with broken tusks here. They seem to be slightly thinner than the ones in the Kruger. And you were saying she's not symmetrical like the typical Mara elephants. You mean, of course, in terms of her tusks. Yeah, I'd agree. I've seen lots of broken tusked elephants here. And that would have hurt horribly when it happened. And in fact, Craig, who very richly deserved the tooth chipping he got the other day, it was an early punishment for his current indiscretions. I could tell you all about painful teeth, couldn't you, Craig? We hit a bump, and a piece of his recently capped root canal disappeared down his throat. I felt sorry for him then. I don't anymore. Well, Rick, who can blame her? You say she looks interested in me. I don't think it's me, Rick. I think it's Craig. They have solidarity in the teeth. She is interested. Rick, in all seriousness, we know that these animals definitely, I think especially elephants, enjoy a little bit of an interaction with us from time to time, and often when they could walk around us or come towards us, there's nothing stopping her just going away. And she's chosen to approach us. And what she's doing here, I think, is searching for little balanites fruits on the floor with her trunk. It is amazing that something so large is able to pick up something so small and delicate and sense it through smell and touch. What else is she eating there? I was trying to see on the ground. Poor Paula, very good question. Until you've watched elephants for a long time, you say, what could possibly break an elephant's tusk? They use their tusks a lot, Paula, to scrape bark normally off trees and to dig a little bit in the sand. And the reason that you haven't seen that while we've been here in the Mara, and if you look at her right tusk, you can see it's very dirty. It's got a lot of dirt on it, and that is because she's been using it to dig and to fish out roots and break off bark. And the reason we don't see that here is that these elephants spend a lot of time in the woodlands fringing the Great Mara River and fringing some of the, what should we call them, the gullies, if you like, on the slopes of the Olololo escarpment. And because there are no roads in those areas, we don't see them feeding on anything other than grass really here. And so we don't see them using their tusks, and that's why it's not obvious to you as to how she could possibly have broken that tusk. Are we getting into pole realm here, Craig? Shall I try and shifty a little? I'm going to try and shifty a little. I don't want to give her a fright though, because let's face it, this vehicle is not quiet. It also will belch an enormous cumulonimbus cloud of diesel into the air as soon as I start it. Sorry, my dear, I do apologize. See how they've all gathered in the defensive position around her. She's definitely the matriarch of this crew, and I also think she's pregnant. So she's she might be a bit weathered, but she certainly ain't finished her contribution to elephant society just yet. And I'm watching her belly there, the side of her belly. I thought I saw some movement, and I wonder if the baby isn't giving a little bit of a kick now and again. What a wonderful herd of elephants this is. And the back one there's missing half its trunk. You see that? Sorry, Craig, I know that we're now putting you right in pole range, but I can't really move. Now the back one there's missing half the trunk. It could have been crocodiles, it could have been snares from people if she's wandered into an area where there are people trying to hunt food. She's given the order to move off, and so the youngsters and the cows are going, but some of the young bulls are being a little disobedient. They're hanging around still. I actually think that's the young cow. I'm not sure about the very little one. Too young to tell. Bye-bye. It's been real. Just have them look at them moving off the other way. This has got stuck for days written all over it, this stuff. Then there they go. And then off to the right hand side, a much larger group feeding towards the base of the Mara. They've come down off the escarpment where I suspect they spent the evening. And then I'm also trying to find just one wildebeest even, and I can't manage to see any, so we'll continue that search. While we do that, Scott Dyson, the great cheetah man of Africa, is still unsurprisingly with his cheetah, and the hyena, very surprisingly, have not pressed home their advantage.
It is very, very surprising, this behavior we're seeing, but at least a little bit of behavior that is kind of normal is the fact that these hyena are now biding their time waiting for a meal. And again, I think, you know, we could be witnessing these strange events where animals don't act as you would expect them to, simply because there's so much food around. I mean, these hyena are certainly looking fairly well fed themselves, so why go through the risk and take the gamble of having an altercation, even with the species that you ordinarily would? Hyena would ordinarily very easily overpower cheetah, but there is always a risk involved, and I guess at the moment the predators are just living the good life. That hyena in the background says it's time to do a pedicure, it looks like, as opposed to cashing on a free meal. She was busy tending to her toenails, it appeared.